Good evening and welcome to Outside the Box. I'm your host, Kate of Gaia, with co-host Tony Z, just waiting for him to get on the board here. And we have with us tonight, as we've been talking about all week, the magnanimous and illustrious Kyler Davenport from Destiny Radio Network. How are you doing, Kyler?
Well, I don't know about illustrious and magnanimous, but yeah, I'm here. How are you all doing tonight?
Really good. Yeah, you can't sell a compliment these days for free. Yeah, it's all good.
Well, I appreciate it.
No worries. We've had a crazy week. How about you?
Well, it's been insane here in the newsroom. We're trying to get the newsroom built up a little bit and add some computers so we can stop talking on these strings and cans. And it's been really interesting, I'll tell you. Very interesting. Yeah,
we've been much the same way. Yes, I talked to you a week ago today, shortly after our departure from Freedom Reigns, a week ago Friday night, and how things sort of came together immediately, literally the next morning. And shortly after we got our platform, I hooked up with you on Skype, and we had a quick chat. And well, here you are tonight, and we're going to talk about a whole lot of different things. One of the key things is how what we're doing, and specifically you, Kyler, and myself, and Tony, and Santo, and all of us with Syncrenicity, Destiny Radio Network, your team, and there are other teams coming on board literally daily at this point, different individuals collectively coming together into a hub, which is becoming a tour de force. Again, we get to reach so many people at once, and this is where we get to cross-pollinate with all our different networks and all the different hosts that we can bring to people, and of course the guests too, and we bring the world to everyone's kitchen table, and I know you do as well.
Yeah, it's I called it the cloud last night. We were talking last night, and I said, I was thinking about the concept visually of what you all are doing and what I've been wanting to do for the last 5 years, and it's kind of building a cloud, really. It's, it's not that hard to get for people, even though some people have a hard time getting it, and as we talked about before, many people are in that competitive mode. They're still in that hardcore, egotistical, competitive mode, and it's really hard for them to break out of it and just get out of the duality and I've got to do something for something mode and just do it. Just do it. That's what I'm doing. I'm just doing it. I could have done it on my own, and we were doing it on our own. I've had the same plan. That's why you and I were both kind of startled that we got together with Tony. Tony, you and I got together because I've been wanting to do this. I've written extensively about it, and all of a sudden here we are together. And, I could have said, oh, well, my ego is so blown up, I'm just going to do it myself because I want to be in control and micromanage and so forth. But no, I don't care about that. I don't need that. I'm proud to be, I'm thankful to be on board, and I think it's a blessing what y'all are doing.
Oh, absolutely, and that goes in all directions. I was going to say it goes both ways, but no, it goes out literally like the hub, center hub of a wheel, and this is where everyone gets to be the quote leader, unquote, in their own independent way, yet at the same time have the collective aspect of the force of many voices and many platforms. I equate it sort of like, say, let's say a soccer team, or in the UK where I'm from, we call it a football team. It doesn't matter at the end of the day which team wins, as far as one team beats another 1-0. It doesn't matter who scored that goal. The whole team prospers as a net result, and that's kind of our mentality here. It's not about being the star and the striker and all the rest of that crap. This is about let's get our team the championship, and truth has to be champion overall. Doesn't matter what role you play, what position. The goalkeeper is as important as the striker, as the defenseman, as the center fielders. We all play our role.
Yeah, I don't mind people either coming in with a little bit of ego, healthy ego as we call it. I think you and I have called it before. I don't mind someone coming in and recognition. That's what drives us all, is recognition for our work, recognition for our professionalism and our knowledge and our wisdom and our skills and our experience. And when people bring that to the table, as long as they don't bring an ego with them the size of New York City, I think we can all get along, and I think we can even handle some of those who do have a little starstruck going on with them. You know, I think it's wonderful to have a healthy, I call it a healthy ego, not a severely dysfunctional, broken ego where you're so wrapped up in duality that you think you have to get tit for tat. Tit for tat will come, and that's something, again, that was interesting, that your philosophy, Tony's philosophy, is, tit for tat, quid pro quo is there. It's right there in front of you. All you have to do is dive in and get over the duality, you know. That duality just kills people, and it's not very enlightened to be that way. Where I say, well, Katie, I'll come over and mop your floor if you'll come over and fix my starter on my car. Well, that's not very equal. You know?
No, I totally hear you, but I'd still come over and fix the car, though. And probably mop the floor myself, right? But anyway, Tony, jump in here, my friend. Let's get your voice on this one.
Yeah, it's sorry about that, guys and girls. I had a bit of a problem logging in. For some reason, I've got a Facebook open account on Internet Explorer, but when I tried to log in through Firefox, it wouldn't allow the interaction between the two browsers. So obviously that bounced me right back out, and I didn't know where I was. But anyway, yeah, great to be with you, Kyla, and as always, Kate. So looking forward to a couple of hours of some serious discussions on getting this construct well and truly sorted out. So let's bring it on, and let's like you said, it's actually get your bum off your seat and get out and do something proactive to make the change that you want to see implemented around you. And that's the point. That's what we're all about on this show. No bullshit allowed, basically.
Come on, Carl, you got to jump on that one. That's beautiful.
What did you say, Tony? No bullshit?
No bullshit, baby, and that's what we're all about.
Totally.
A lot of people just don't take life that seriously, and I've met a lot of hosts that are just playing a 10-minute fame game, and they just kind of want to stay with their 30-minute deal or their hour deal. They want to have 20 or 30, 40, 50 listeners, and that's wonderful. That's fine. That's okay. There's a place for everybody in the world, and I respect all of those places. Each and every one of those people I highly respect. But that does not mean that I'm not going to be aggressive and that I'm not going to try to go to 1 million listeners through Syncrenicity, and that we're not going to reach out to sponsors that we agree with and that we are in line with. And it doesn't mean that we do not need to make a living. Some people in this world today think that radio talk show hosts and nonprofit directors and critical outreach folks do not need to make a living. They think that we should all be poor and digging around in garbage cans and trying to fend for ourselves, and that's just not the case whatsoever. I actually had someone say this to me the other day. They said, oh, well, I put out this thing that said, I'm looking for 1,000 producers, volunteer producers around the world. I said, you guys and girls are already holding a camera. You're already out there. You're in your positions. I said, why not join forces with us and, pay $25 for a media badge and a certificate, which will not only help you when the police are behind you, but, also help you when you're out on the scene to be official. And I said it'll help build the network. And this guy, actually 2 or 3 people emailed me back with seething emails. And they were like, well, all you people are trying to do is make $25 times 1,000. That's $25,000 while you sit back on your behind and do nothing but draw the money. I said, whoa, wait a minute here. I said, do you have any idea what we do as talk show hosts in a 24-hour period? Do you have any idea what it takes to build a network this size that Tony, Katie, myself are working on? Do you have any idea at all the education and training that we will be putting toward the people and how much time and effort that takes and how much mental capacity and passion? And he was like, oh, my God, I didn't know.
Mm.
I said, you didn't know what? Well, I didn't know that this was work.
Exactly.
I didn't know.
I mean, I've been hit with the same bloody thing. I had somebody turn around and accuse me of begging the other day, and it fucking knocked his head off. Couldn't believe it. The reverse mentality of this guy it just blew me away. My God. Just totally clueless.
They don't realize how hard we work. They
No.
don't realize the passion that we have and how hard we have to work and all of the technical skills that we have to muster. Even if we don't have them, we have to muster those skills, you know, and we don't have the money to go out and hire a tech from MIT. We don't have the money or the time to go out and find a code writer. We have to learn these things ourselves, and that's what public radio, internet, independent public radio is all about, and that's what makes it special and original and real, you know, versus the mainstream media where they've got a budget and they can bring all of these people together and just pay them salaries and tell them what to do, what to report, and what to cover. And in fact, that's what makes our particular genre, in my opinion, so powerful and so meaningful, is the fact that we are here because we want to be here and because this is our passion and our mission. And that's what makes internet public radio so much different. Don't you all agree?
Oh, absolutely. You know, and that's the thing too. It's the level of commitment. And while you guys are talking, I'm thinking back. It was about 6.5, 7 years ago. A friend came to me and said, "You know, because I was on stage all the time, and I have my own little banterings and rants and whatnot on stage, introducing songwriters and whatnot. That's what I did." And he came to me and says, "You know, I've got a friend in a radio station, FM radio station, and you'd make a great radio host." And I said, "Well, really? Okay." And it took me about 18 months to kind of get around to do it, and it wasn't because I didn't want to. It's because I know that, and I knew that as I know now, I don't pull punches, and I know that I am going to raise the ire of those that would rather not be exposed, you know, namely cops and stuff like that for the criminals that they are. Something I do want to get out there as well, that for those that think anything other than the fact that an attorney or a judge or whatever are anything less than war criminals, you need to get your head out of your ass. So that needs to be said based on this. You know, you look at the. I'm going to say this now because I got to say this. It's pissing me off all day. The whole bar society, bar association need to be behind their own bars, and they're all a pack of war criminals, and that includes the Pope, the Queen, the President, and all the rest of them. So that just needs to be said. Thanks. I feel better now.
Well, this is the point. You see, when you start looking into this stuff, you'll find that they're all practicing magicians, and the bar is basically it's black magic, and it's the magic whereby they're casting a spell upon you to make you think that you're a little nobody, and that they're the big powerful person sitting up there in the box that they sit in as a judge. I don't know what the bloody name is. The point is, that's the problem. That's the belief system, and that's the problem itself, because they're imposing upon you their judgments and their commandments, if you like. And if you don't understand what's going on, you know, you fall for it every time, and it's basically acquiescence. If we don't know who we are, how can we stand up for our own beliefs and our own, for ourselves? And this is the point. 9 times out of 10, if not more than that, much more than that, most people go into these places thinking that they're going to, get some kind of remedy, and it's the opposite. It's completely the opposite. It's all magic, and that's what we need to accept.
Can you all hear me?
Oh yeah, loud and clear. Good.
Yeah.
I put on my headset to be able to listen, but I'm talking back on the computer, which is kind of new for me. We had a little problem tonight, so I'm talking into the computer and listening back through the headset, which is kind of neat. I just want to clarify from my end of it that I grew up with cops. I know that Katie knows this, Tony knows this. You know, I grew up with DEA, DOD, Department of Justice, Defense. I grew up with intelligence, homicide. Every cop in the world, name it, I grew up with them. And yeah. I grew up with a bunch of dirty, mean cops, man. I mean, just junkyard dogs times 25. But I also want to emphasize that there are some wonderful police officers out there, believe it or not. And I'm not going to come on near. You know, I mean, I'm with cops all the time, and you know, there are some wonderful cops there that are being badgered and hurt. They're being ridiculed. They're being damned and dissed for being good, for being servants of the people. And that's difficult for some people to believe that there are good cops out there, but I always like to intervene, even on my page, when people start getting to the point of being cop killers or wanting to beat cops up or, you know, have them all tarred and feathered. This society would be in one hell of a shape at this present time until we develop something new, which is not going to happen in our lifetime, if we did not have cops, good and bad, believe it or not. We need the good ones and the bad ones right now because we're not going to be able to get rid of the bad ones, period, right now. We're doing a good job of it, as Tony said. We need to literally arrest some of these police officers. We need to make citizens arrest under the Magna Carta for judges, prosecutors, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm coming into this thing respecting law enforcement to a point, as long as they respect me. When that respect stops with me, of course, you know that's where the whole thing turns. And, you know, we just need to really stand up for our rights. People need to stop giving their IDs to cops when asked for them. They need to stop consenting to searches when asked. They need to stop bowing down and being submissive, unless you're a crook, unless you're a criminal and you're holding cocaine in your pocket, or you just robbed a bank, or you just robbed a house or jacked a car. You need to stand up to the police in a nice, kind, professional way and let them know, hey, you're not going to trample on my rights. You're not going to trample on my First Amendment right, Second Amendment right, Fourth Amendment right. You're just not, you know. I'm not going to give you my name. Am I under arrest? Am I being detained? If not, I'm going to leave. But very few people will do that. That's the problem that we have today, is very few people are brave enough or understand the Constitution at just the basic level enough to stand up to the authority figures that have been put there to harass and to jail and to ticket and to hurt.
Yeah, again, it's a system based on fiction, based on puppet characters. One of your posts earlier, cardboard cutouts and whatnot, and it's a system based on deception of people without, you know, really letting them know what's going on. For people to fully understand, the fact that they have a name is enough consent for them to be literally murdered by the state. You know, legally, in any way, shape, or form, should be enough to scare the pants off anybody. You know, and this is one of the things here, and this is why, you know, I've been without ID for, 2.5 years now, and it has not been easy. So anyone out there thinking that what we do is fun, it's not. Bleeding from every pore. So, but we're standing, and what you were saying there about not showing an ID and whatever, the simple fact is, when and this goes for the good cops and the bad cops. I don't pull any punches on this one. You swore an oath to a dead corporation. And here's the thing about power. And I was thinking about this today because I knew we'd cover this at some point. Here's the issue of power. You see, just because somebody has a feigned notion of power over another because someone duped them into thinking that they were somehow more important than another human being, that the issue is not so much as to have power, but do you have the human compassion? And this is where you separate the drones from the humans, by the way. Do you have the compassion to understand that what you're doing, although because someone told you you should do it, is it something that you actually should be doing based on the harming of others that you are creating? I don't know if I made that very clear, but just because you have this feigned notion that you're allowed or supposed to do something and you're given this, quote, authority by somebody else, which is bullshit anyway, just because you have the ability to go out and harm another doesn't mean you should. You see, and that's where we've lost our humanity, especially with the multitudes. I mean, I got to tell you, some of the IQs of the drones that I've come across up here. You know, you can look in the bottom of the bucket and still not find it. You know, and I'm not kidding. I mean, I'm not being derogatory here. I'm being quite factual. I had one kid, well, probably about 23, 24 years old, and had him working, I guess, the night shift. That was the night they kidnapped me, again. And this kid, honest to God, if this is the quality of intelligence that they're hiring, people, you better be afraid. You better be very afraid, because when you give literally a moron, and I'm talking, and I'm being very polite when I say that. I can't think of another word. Imbecile. Someone probably with an IQ of about 70 or 80. We're talking a 3-4-year-old. Okay. And to see a sidearm on this kid, that's some scary shit.
Well, if you look at the cops' psychological profiles, now you would think, the average citizen would think that, when they bring these police in to interview them and give them their 3, 4, 5 interviews, the average citizen would think that they go on a biblical basis. Now, honestly, this is true. The older people would think they're bringing someone in there that goes to church and school and believes in the golden rule, someone that loves their mother and their father and respects God and country and patriotism, someone that's there to serve you, someone that's there to help you. And listen to me, folks. Listen to someone who grew up with cops, lived with cops, knows cops, works with cops. That is simply not the case anymore. It used to be. Believe it or not, when the Texas Rangers first started, I'm not here to give dates tonight or statistics or sources, so don't ask me to. I'll put them up on the site. We are the source, by the way. I want to mention that later if I can. I want to talk about us being the source rather than the 24th generation source, and that's very important. But these cops today are psychopaths. Now, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate mail, but they are born psychopaths. They are attracted to police work because they have such a power craze. They want to go out and beat people up. They want to go out and barnstorm your house. They want to work with drones. They want to work with the new technology. They have a desire, almost a bulldog desire, pit bull, to go out and take control, to be God, to be in charge, to be oppressive. And this is what the average citizens need to understand. When you're stopped by a police officer, you are in grave danger. You are in grave, grave danger. I hate to see people smarting off the cops. I hate to see people disrespecting cops. That's one thing I want to say is you should be very professional, know the law, study the law, listen to Syncrenicity, listen to Out of the Box, listen to Destiny Radio Network. This is why we're here as a team, to teach, to train, to offer assistance and support and guidance. We're not here to be anti-cop. We're not here to be anti-anything. We're here to educate and to help and support and guide and lead and give you all our experience from where we've come from what we've done. I'm 56 years old, been around the world, done it all, heard it all, smelt it all, felt it all. This is what this network is all about. We're not here to be vigilantes. At least I'm not. I'm not here to be a wild, crazed, vigilante, anti-government fool. I'm here to be an intellectual, loving, kind servant myself. So I just wanted to clarify that. I wanted to clarify what we're here about.
Yeah, no, we're very adamant about that whole thing. Is we're not here to, create. I don't know what the word I'm trying to use or look for here, but the bottom line is here. What we're trying to do is state the facts, and what Kyler was saying about being in grave danger. That's exactly the point I'm trying to make, and this is one of the things that has happened in our society, and what we have, walking around with nightsticks and guns, tasers and attitude, are guys and girls that were specifically chosen because of their psychological profile of either being a bully or being bullied. The bully is used to beating the crap out of people, and the one who's bullied wants revenge. So that's why they take them from both sides of that spectrum, the bullies and the bullied. And I don't know, every one of those that I've come across are exactly that profile. And then you put them all together in a team, now you got real serious issues. And it's no wonder that actually the good cops, the very few that are left, are getting butchered by their kin, because it's not cool to actually care about fellow human being. I don't even consider these goons as of the human species. These are, and I won't even grade them as animals, because I have far too much love for the animal kingdom. They're quite something else, but they're certainly not human. Anyway, and that's not Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, what I would say is that they're programmed in this way over a period of time. What I think Tony and you were talking about spelling, people being under this spell Tony talked about. I talked about spelling and casting spells and symbols and numerology and how important that is and how long that we've been under this massive spell. I have people emailing me now saying, Kyler, you're crazy, man. You're crazy. What are you talking about? Are you a witch? Talking about these spells? I wish Tony could help me to kind of reiterate, kind of open this up, to let people know, no, we're not witches, and we're not talking about we are white witches or black witches, which is fine. I don't have any disrespect for those folks either. But we are under a long, ageless spell that has happened since mankind stepped onto this small pea-sized planet. We have wanted to kill each other. We've wanted to dominate each other. We've wanted to overcome and overpower each other simply because we can, and simply because we have egos, and simply because we believe in duality. We do not understand non-duality. Most of these cops have never studied the things that we study. I educate cops all the time on the Constitution. I educate cops all the time on the things that we discuss here on the show, and they're in amazement. They're in complete amazement when they listen to our shows. They're like, my God, I didn't know these things were going on with the sheriffs. I didn't know the sheriffs were standing up against the feds in 25 different states. I didn't realize that these constitutional issues were that important or that ingrained in this fight. I didn't know that posse comitatus had been taken away. I didn't know that President Obama had signed all of these different bills making American citizens terrorists. So there's there's something to be said for educating cops. Cops are becoming more aware and more alert to just how dangerous it is for them, because you see when these bills kick into effect and we have some type of false flag situation here in the United States, and if any kind of martial law is declared, guess what happens to the cops? The cops are immediately put under submission to the feds. Their houses are automatically opened, and everything in those houses is automatically opened. They go off salary at that moment. They do not receive a salary of any kind. So cops are going to be put in a worse position than the people that they're told to go out and arrest. Did you know that?
Oh, absolutely. That's the premise of the next essay I've been formulating in my head for the last few days. Master or slave or master, and those that claim to be master or think they have this delusion that somehow they're a master over another are the biggest slave of all, because they haven't even got a clue as to who and what they are, and they are the furthest ones from the real truth, and they're also the ones that are going to suffer the most. So if
yes.
And this goes out to all those that have sworn their oath to a corporate dead fiction thing, which is what you've done. You've literally sold your soul to the devil, in a very literal, absolute sense. You see, because when you put pen to paper, that's your intent, and when you swear an oath, that is your intent. You see, because by your actions, one is known. It's like this: I won't know that, say, Kyler is going to throw a ball at me until he decides to pick the ball up and throw it. But he has to go through the process of thinking about picking that ball up and throwing it to me. That happens first. So the action always comes after the intent. Always. So this is why people need to understand that when they sign something, when they put their pen to paper, the intent of signing was already sealed in the universal law, not the man-made bullshit physical stuff that we deal here in the mundane legal fiction world. No, they're not interested in that. That's just proof of the fact that you committed a crime of intent to do something unlawful, and that's how they've been duping us for millennia. Time to give up, guys? I'm done with it. Boy, they don't like it when you wake up to that one. They come at you hardcore.
No, they do not like for you to, like Cop Watch, they do not like Cop Watch. They do not like to be videotaped. That's why they're trying to make it a felony in many cases under the wiretap law to arrest you for wiretapping when you're out there with your video camera or your cell phone. You have to be very, very careful when you're videotaping cops now because they can arrest you, legal or not. They can arrest you and they can charge you with a felony, and it's going to cost you thousands and thousands of dollars to get out of it. So you have to really know what you're doing with that tool called a camera or a video camera.
Well, I just want to go back on a point there, Kyler, as far as they can do it. No, it's not that they can do it. They will do it. And there's a big difference there. There's a will to do this. No, they cannot do it in any sense of the moral, ethical understanding of compassionate humanity. They cannot do it because it's harming another. That's breaking the golden rule. What they can do, though, have the willful intent to harm another by making the choice to do so, even if they are full of shit, because they know that back at the office where the lead dog is, he's there waiting for other little dogs to come in so he can give them treats and pick up all the tickets and whatnot. Okay, so this is all money oriented, guys. This is all and I'm so glad you brought that point up, Connor, and I really want you to go over it again as far as the first ones to lose in this game are going to be the cops. They're going to be standing there with their pants down.
Yes, they are, and sheriffs included. And I also want to say that sheriffs being elected are your last and first line of defense in your county. And many, many sheriffs, this is one of my areas of expertise, are waking up around the country and saying no. I've spoken to many of these sheriffs on and off camera, and they are waking up. They are forming a line for the feds to cross. So your sheriff is the person that you should support. And I mean, you should get behind your sheriff, because let me tell you something. They are the only defense standing in the way. They are the only wall standing in the way between you and the feds coming into your home and doing whatever it is they're going to do to you when the time comes. I'm encouraging everyone to call your sheriff's department and let them know that you are behind them as long as they follow the Constitution of the United States, that you will continue to support the sheriff's department and all of its fundraising efforts, and you'll continue to speak about them on the air with us, and you'll continue to stand behind the department as long as they follow the Constitution. The highest officer in the land locally is your constable working for the judges. They're the other ones that are going to be hard to pull over, hard to sway over with the sheriffs, but they're the closest to the sheriffs. They're also the only one that can arrest a judge is a constable. So you need to work with your constables, talk to them, and you need to work with your sheriff's department, because like them or not, understand what I'm saying or not, you better heed my warning. They are your protection. They are your family's protection, and you better understand that at this point in time, because it's not if, but when something is going to happen here in the United States, and all of you are going to be without internet. You're going to be without any kind of communication whatsoever. If look, folks, we're not just talking about man-made events here. We're also talking about sun with massive power shooting out these massive amounts of energy toward the Earth. We are expecting another major event on the sun, actually at any time. And if that should happen, it'll blow out the grid, the electrical grid between Canada and Florida. When that happens, there's not going to be any food. There's not going to be any McDonald's. There's not going to be any Taco Bell or Burger King. You can't run down to Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Well, that's a good thing.
You won't be able to get on your cell phone. Yeah. But you won't be able to get on your cell phone. You won't be able to talk to Mama or Daddy. The only people that will be up and running will be those with shortwave radios, and you're going to be in trouble. So be prepared, get yourself ready, and it's not a matter of if but when, and support your local sheriff's department, because at this time they are the ones that are there to protect your county, your city, your town.
I would even go as far as to say, yeah, I understand what you're saying there with regards to the sheriff, Kyler. The bottom line is you have absolute responsibility to yourself.
Yes.
And that is the fundamental. You see, I am as pure an anarchist as you will ever find. I am ruled only by my heart. Only.
Yes.
That's where compassion comes in. And what we're dealing with here is a society that has been so ingrained and entrained into the mind, ego thinking, that the heart has been rendered, for many, utterly useless. And that's when you cease to be human. That's when you cease to be part of mankind. That's when you actually cease to be part of the living organism called Earth. And you need to be very mindful of that. And you see, a compassionate heart isn't one that is filled with revenge against another, which is the furthest thing from me. I mean, all I ever have anymore is pity, knowing full well that when this pendulum swings back, they will have to wear that which they try to put on others. And I got to tell you, I hope all those people that came at me the way they did are ready to deal with what I've had to go through, and many others out there like us that dare to choose to stand in peace, truth, love, and honor. Because I'll tell you this right now, that pendulum's going to come back, and it's going to come back hardcore. And, you might have been ready to jump into grade 1, but you're going to get knocked back into nursery school in terms of living in reality. I'm not even quite sure where an entity like that would actually end up in terms of consciousness. I mean, we've got lots of consciousness all the way down to, the single cells like amoebas and whatnot. So that might be a long crawl back in terms of, billions of years. So be mindful of your actions. They will cost you.
Yeah, and cognitive dissonance is very important. People are so passive. People are so on the dole. People are so pro-government because they're getting government assistance. They're getting government housing. They're getting food stamps, which I don't have anything against for those who need it. They're getting disability. Many people are getting disability that do not need it, do not deserve it, and should not have it. People expect the government to take care of every single problem that is happening around the world. People expect the government to take care of everything that's happening here in the United States. The majority of Americans still believe that the government is real, that they're doing a good job. They believe in elections. Your mic's working great. They believe in elections, and they do not understand that presidents are appointed. They do not understand that we only have a one-party system. We do not have a two-party system. Let me say that again one more time tonight to make history. We do not have a one-party system. There is no such thing as a party system. A one-party system with the elite, the global elite, working together toward the goal of exterminating the American citizens, reducing the populations, and getting everything kind of back to where they want to carry it with their bloodline, with their kids and grandkids. They do not have any compassion or any love. Many of the New Age light workers, I wrote an article about this a couple of days ago. I think you saw it, Katie. Many of the light workers do not want to realize any of this. They do not want to discuss any of this. They do not want to talk about any of this. They only want to talk about positive, good, sweet, loving, kind, wonderful, forgiving things, and that is not the role of a light worker. A light worker has to be just as involved and just as educated in the darkness as they do the so-called light. They have to be on the front line, and they have to really study and do the research and be ready to fight, be ready to be a warrior. You can't fight off a .357 Magnum or a Glock or an AR-47 or AK-47 with a box of empathy cookies. Empathy cookies are not going to protect you and your family, your kids, from an invasion into your home. So be prepared to fight. Be prepared to stand up. Be prepared to know your Constitution, know your local laws, study some common law, and make sure you're ready and you're prepared when the time comes. The other problem I have with the New Age movement is the fact that they're anti-gun. I've been into this all week, been in it last week, the week before. They're anti-gun. They want to see all Americans, many of the New Age, pseudo New Age movement, I specified this in my article, they want to see all of our guns taken away from us, all of our slingshots, BB guns, even butcher knives. They're the same that would have us giving animals the same exact rights as human beings, the same exact rights. There's a move on right now, as much as I can't comprehend this, to give animals the same exact rights as humans. Now, this, my friends, is ridiculous even to the vegetarians who understand the point of where this is going. You won't even be able to go to Lobster Fest and have a lobster put in a pot to be boiled alive, as we've done it for thousands and thousands of years. And I know what you're thinking, Katie. You're thinking, well, we've done a lot of things for thousands and thousands of years, but that doesn't make it right. But anyway, we've got to get it.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking.
We've got to, see, I can read your mind already. We've got to be intelligent about this. We've got to be strong. We've got to be mature. Let me emphasize this word, mature adults. And this is the problem in this country. We're raising parents that are not adults, and we're raising babies that are not adults, and the nut doesn't fall very far from the tree, so the curse or the spell is passed down to the children. And don't get me started on the chipping and all the other stuff. Go ahead, Tony.
Not even the adults that think they're adults are actually adults. This is the problem.
No.
Even people, that think they're educated just haven't got, a lot of them just haven't got the first idea. And this is what we've come to on this show. I mean, the fact of the matter is, there's no way we can deal with all of these things unless we start telling the truth. And that's the very thing that's been hidden or occulted or, taken away from us, is our knowledge of what's real and what's not. Because they basically ended up putting us into a construct whereby only things that they say are, this is what you're going to do, this is what you can say, this is what you can't, you need a license, you need a passport, you need this, you need that, you need the other. In other words, they've given us a construct. And it's that construct that only allows for certain actions to be prohibited or allowed, and thus prohibited in certain areas. You can talk about this subject, but you can't talk about that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And there's all this manipulation and control, which has ended up putting us in a box, and the box has got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and it's going to continue to get smaller until we actually turn around and say, no, that's enough. And that's the inherent problem that we've got. So in order to understand what's wrong, what we need to do, it's like understanding, if I say to you the word car, right? You automatically understand what it is. I don't need to say a box that's got wheels, that's got an engine, that carries you from A to B, In other words, you automatically accept a car has got wheels and an engine, right? But unless you've not looked at these particular subjects, you won't understand where I'm coming from. The point is, we've been lied to about everything. So we need to look at the basics first and say, well, what the bloody hell's going on here? Because everybody thinks they're talking about a lot of the truth, but the fact is they wouldn't know the truth if it bit them in the arse. And that's the problem. So this is what we do on this show. We bring people in and we say, right, do you know the truth about this, and this? And it's a simple thing that we do. It's like a litmus test. So, if I turned around to you, Kyla, and this is exactly the litmus test I'm talking to you about now. Do you know the truth about energy? You've mentioned about solar flares wiping out the grid and all the rest of it. Yeah. There's loads of different areas I can go in that. But just on a basis of a need to start a communication at a given point, which is where I come from. I start at a given point and say, right, okay, let's find somewhere where we can both agree on, is this a fact or is this not a fact? Okay? So let's go for that. Let's try and throw one of these things out there. Are you aware of the fact that we have freely available energy sources? I know it's miles away from where you were going, but there's a reason to this.
Yeah, actually, I did want to bring one more point into this, Kyler, that will actually tie in what you just said with what Tony said. Like, one of the things that that we're very well aware of with Keshi and numerous other individuals that are bringing forth different things that we have always known and always had but have been hidden from us. I'll give you an example as far as what you'd said about giving animals the rights, the same kind of rights as humans. Well, see, for me, life is life regardless. Now, I'll tell you, it actually bothers me when I see people killing insects like They are Lord and Master over the entire planet, and that's bullshit. I mean, that's the literal aspect of the Bible that got mistranslated as well. And what the Keshi technology can do is actually pull protein right out of the ether. You see, and what we have to do is get off our fixation of, well, I need my Kentucky Fried Chicken, and I need my greasy this, and I need to kill that to eat this and that and the other. And that's not. I'm not coming at it from a hardcore. This is my own choice. I'm not coming at it from a hardcore vegetarian mentality. I'm coming at this from purely logical reasons. You see, because when you're, for example, we can survive on things that plants give us. And I'm not talking about ripping carrots out of the ground, killing the plant entirely, and what have you. What I am talking about are things like, tomatoes and apples and peas and what have you, that actually can be picked off the plant as a gift, so to speak, right? So again, it's about changing perspective. And the fact is, we have the energy, free energy there, and the technology's there now to literally pull protein. You remember the Star Trek Next Generation? They had the replicator. That's the shit I'm talking about. We have that ability. So as far as I'm concerned, we have no right to walk around and kill anything. And I'm talking the mosquito, fly, or whatever, because honestly, if a mosquito's biting you, well, you were there too, stupid. Whose fault is it? Yours or the mosquitoes? The mosquitoes is trying to eat.
Well, we just don't want to turn this. Now, this is something that people need to think about, and I have thought about it. We don't want to turn this into a religion. This is where get into the. This is where we get into the higher learning part. This is where we get into the non-duality part. This is where we get into the respecting each other's opinions and each other's belief systems and cultures and creeds and dogmas and experiences. I am with you, Katie. I am with you on the killing of bugs. I won't even step on a grasshopper on the ground if I see it. Some people will just go, crunch, look what I did, ha, 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 ha. A June bug. Kids are out squishing June bugs all the time.
You've seen the video. Yeah.
Well, I won't do that. And people ask me, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? That's just a bug. Well, I don't even answer. I don't even dignify that with an answer if I'm in a hurry. That's just a bug, But we don't want to turn this into a religion. We do not want to turn the vegans against the carnivores. That's not going to be a good thing, okay? I'm against these multifaceted killing machines that are killing hundreds of thousands of cows by the, just boom, 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 boom on the kill floor alive. I sent you the video the other day. Throwing the little chickens in the meat grinder alive and kicking the animals in the head. Now, this is something where I would like to see us go down and hang these guys. Just hang them. Get a rope and hang the bastards. Pardon me. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. That's okay. They're used to Katie talking about. That's nothing. Keep going.
But, we can't, I say we. No one is going to stop this. There has been investigation after investigation after investigation into this harsh and cruel world of multi-killing. And people just will not stand up. You get 15 or 20 people out there protesting at these big farms, and they get cold, and they get sick, and they get tired, and they want to go back home to mommy and daddy, and it's over. We've got to storm the FDA. We got to storm Monsanto, and that's not going to happen. Tell me how many people are protesting in Egypt right now. Does anybody know? Hundreds of thousands of people are in the streets, knocking over police cars, knocking over street lamps, kicking in doors. We're not going to do that here in the United States because of the spell that Tony talks about. And, we're not going to do that. We're too fat. We're too lazy. We're too sassy. We're too sexy. We've got entertainment. We've got football, basketball, baseball, soccer. We're worried about the new iPhone that's coming out. How powerful is Windows going to be? We're too politically correct. So we've got a problem here, folks. And as I said on my show last night, all I can do is report. All Katie can do is report. All Tony can do is report. And we can hope that people comprehend. We can hope that we can save or help or assist one or two people out there in the thousands that we deal with. That's really all we can hope to do.
Yeah,
but all we can hope to do.
This is the point. What we are actually doing is not just sitting here reporting what's going on. Is we're educating people. Okay.
Well,
now,
I said that earlier.
Yeah. But I'm still getting to my point. The point is, when you empower people with knowledge, that means that they don't necessarily have to look at things in the way that they're currently looking at them. And that's
Right.
why I started this conversation with energy, because if you think that we need oil for a fuel source, well, you're wrong. If you think that we need to base money on gold, well, you're wrong. This is the point.
Well,
it's this knowledge.
You asked me the question, Tony. I believe we can get beyond natural gas, all of these non-renewables like coal and nuclear energy, fusion, shale oil. I'm sick and tired of hearing about tar sands and extra heavy oil. That's just nasty and dirty. We need to move to renewable sources like, let me see, I think hydroelectric energy is wonderful.
No.
Let me give you a second level. And
it's wrong.
To the higher level.
It's wrong.
Again, Kyler, just give Tony a second here, because you've never had a chance to really get in with us and the kind of people that we've been working with. Yeah, you'll actually love this. Hydroelectricity is so backwards, it is Stone Age.
Yeah, I was just saying where we were with all this. We are doing hydroelectric, biomass, geothermal, wind, solar, photovoltaic. Go ahead.
Yeah, we don't need any of it. We've got 0 point. This is the point. For example, Mehan Kesh, if you go to www.keshfoundation.com .org, Kesh Foundation, what he's using is matter and antimatter, okay, to manipulate basically it manipulates electromagnetic energy from the 0 point. So where I'm going with this is, it does not use fuel. It manufactures limitless energy, and it doesn't burn fuels. There's no negative about it. It's all positive. But the point is, the information has been suppressed. Okay, it's the same with Marco Rodin and the Rodin physics. Okay, that's been suppressed. Tesla's downloading energy from ambient air temperature in the atmosphere, that's been suppressed. Professor Jonathan Searle, Searl, he's developed the Searle effect generator, which has been proven again in Russia. The fact of the matter is, all he uses is rotating electromagnetic rollers, and he rotates these rollers to a certain point, and it downloads 0 point energy straight out of the ether. Again, we don't need any of the geothermal, any of the oil, any of the nuclear, any of this bull. And that's the point where I'm talking about bedrock science. And you want to know how far this goes, right? If you understood the magnitude of what we were talking about, and I'm not trying to be offensive, so I do apologise if it comes across that way. I'm just frustrated, because the magnitude of the information is, the pyramids of Giza were based on sacred geometry, and they understood the harmonics of the universe and how the universe works and how the planets work in harmony with all of the other planets. There is an effect, okay? There's a pull on the Earth to the Sun. There's a pull on the Sun to the Earth. There's a pull on the Moon to the Earth. There's a pull on the Earth to the Moon. It's brain dead obvious. This is why the Earth goes around the Sun. This is why the Moon goes around the Earth, okay? It's a non-linear energy field. And this is what the pyramids were doing, which is why they bullshitted us about the truth of the pyramids. I've gone on Edge Media TV and given this information out to the public, and I got MIBs all over me, black military helicopters and all sorts of other shit. So I actually know what I'm talking about here. The point is, we've got free energy. We've had free energy for a very, 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 very long time, but it's been hidden. Now, the reason that it's been hidden is to make a construct of a monetary system whereby we need to buy energy, buy heat, buy electricity, buy fuel, be that food or transport or petrol or anything. They've had to put us in a box, in a construct, or a box made of constructs, which are invisible walls or laws backwards. Yeah? So this is all a construct. So what we need to do to understand the construct we find ourselves in is get back to bedrock, is get back to basics, is say, right, okay, now we understand we've got free energy. That means, we need to readdress everything that we thought we knew. Otherwise, we're not in a position of empowerment mentally, emotionally, and comprehensively to make sense of this stuff. And that's where we go. We go back to bedrock and we look at energy, because energy is one of the main forces that allows all of this construct to evolve. If we still believe we need all this oil, gas, nuclear, and all the rest of this rubbish, then we've got it wrong. And that's the point. So we need to go back to where we actually get it right and start from there. I'll let you comment on that one.
Well, I respect your opinion, and I agree with everything that you've talked about, and I'm well-versed in quantum physics, quantum mechanics, and nanotechnologies that deal with energy also. We're getting away from the on-off switches, and we're getting into the nonlinear investigations of nanotechnology, bio-nanotechnology. Yes, and yes for everything you said. Amen and amen. But, however, we are fighting this massive breakdown in the human machine. We're fighting this passive, massive America as well as passive, massive world. And, of course, we've had so many scientists die in the process of doing what you're talking about, and we've had so many people killed in the process of trying to get this information out. Yes, I can understand why you're being followed and why you're being watched and surveilled. If you're even talking about these things, because we are too over here, and believe it or not, I talk about these things on my shows all the time. However, you've got such a power base. What really makes me laugh is when the people who are trying to do these Occupy movements and things say, oh, we're going to get these guys, we're going to shut the government down, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. You're not going to do shit. Okay, you're not going to do shit. I've been in Washington, D.C. I've been with the biggest of the biggest. I've rolled on the yachts over in Israel. I know what's going on with these money changers, and it's not going to be as easy as it sounds on the radio. Okay, we can sit here all day and talk about we need this and we need that and blah, 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 and we can post all kinds of wonderful, sweet things. But it ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen until there's a bloody revolution. It ain't going to happen until Americans get off their lazy ass and stand up and stand forward, and they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. They're too programmed in the comfort zone. They're too comfortable. They're programmed, as you said, to be passive, to be submissive, to lay down and take it up the rectum, and they're going to continue to do that. The children are much, much worse than the parents are, because the children are growing up right in the midst of this New World Order paradigm. They're growing up right in the midst of this broken education system that we have that teaches kids to memorize things they will never need and never remember. So we're growing a nation of lame brains. So those are some of the issues that we need to get over before we can put your plan into operation.
Right. No.
Hey, Kyler. Let me jump in here for a sec. I'll tell you how to not have a bloody revolution. I really don't like the idea of this whole thing needing to go to that. We've done that time immemorial. It hasn't worked before, and all it's going to do is supplant one dictator for another. The bottom line is this: you want to end this, and you're talking about lazy, massive, passive America. Well, I'll tell you what. All everybody has to do is stop working for a week or two, and the whole system collapses. It's the energy.
I agree.
That's it.
And stop paying taxes. They're illegal.
Well,
income tax is illegal.
Stop using money. Stop using the Federal Reserve notes, because you're committing fraud by using intergovernmental paper, and then you turn around and claim that you're not a government fucking employee. Are you kidding me? No. That's not how it works,
Katie, the mainstream will put you and I and Tony in handcuffs and carry us away to the first FEMA camp talking like this, and you know it, beyond the shadow of a doubt.
Oh, no, I don't. Kyler, do not put words like that in my mouth. No.
We're in a safe zone here.
It doesn't know.
We're in a safe zone.
We are in what's called an untouchable zone, you see, because when you stand in truth to a certain extent, that's when you become an untouchable. And I know people will have a hard time grasping this. And I spent a lot of time in absolute fucking terror to get to this point of finally going, okay, all I got to do is stand in truth, and it's game over for these monkeys. And that's all you got to do.
Exactly. Don't play the game.
I don't play the game. I don't play the game, and I certainly won't have any aspect of fear mongering with regards to potentially being. I don't give a shit. You want to put a gun in my head and blow my head off? I don't care. You're not killing me. You're dropping a meat stick.
My point is, if you go down to an area where there's 75 people, maybe 150, like I do all the time, and you go down there and you stand up to the police and they say, get your ass out of here. I don't mean just on the curb. I'm talking about get your ass out of here. And you've got other people going, hey, yeah, get him, Katie, get him, Katie. And Katie's standing there, and or me, Kyler, Tony, whatever, standing there by herself. Kind of in a moment, we look around and there's nobody there. The cops have got their big guns out. The cops have got their tear gas out. I guarantee you that place is going to clear out. It's going to be gone. It's going to be empty, and you're going to be standing there by yourself. That's my point. That's the only point I'm trying to make.
Kyler, you know what, buddy? Let me tell you. I'm going to share this. You've got my fire going here. I'll tell you. I have stood in the face of this.
That's what I do best.
Hang on. I have stood in the face of these fucking monkeys, and that's what they are. They're trained monkeys. The only thing missing is the guy with a little music box and a peanut tray. Okay? I have stood in absolute peace in front of these guys and seen fear in their face, and all they have is their 9mm penis extension strapped to their hip that somehow makes them powerful. One little monkey called Craig Nye, you want to talk about a constable that is a constable, here's a little shetty meat stick. I looked at him. This was, I think, the second interaction I had. He was the Rob Davis, the chief of police for the city of, well, former. He got his ass fired. Went too far with me. Got fired 2 weeks into my solitary confinement because he couldn't keep his dick in his pants. I guess Craig got tired with the knee pads. But here's the bottom line, and this is my passion coming out. I looked this little monkey square in the eyes and I said, you talk like you know the law. Where'd you go? Yale, Harvard? I went to the police academy. Yeah, you got the program. You got the little book that's about 4 pages deep that says you can do this, and then of course you're all you got to do now is walk around like you're some high and mighty, God, whatever. And so I'll tell you what you're suffering from, you little cock. You're suffering from a Napoleonic complex because you're what, 5'2", which makes your cock about the size of my pinky. You didn't like that too much. And you want to see the cops back away. I'll tell you, when I go, I can keep the peace and a smile on my face. I'm on stage too long, Kyler, and I can make these monkeys. See me in the Judge Bows to Sovereign video. I told the monkeys to back off in the courtroom, and they did. That's the energy I carry because they cannot, I know universal law, they cannot, against my free will consent, harm me because I have no intention of harming another. And that is the only thing that will keep anyone safe. End of story.
I'm agreeing. No, I'm agreeing with you. I think that you're right, and I believe what you're telling me. I'm just saying the average citizen is not like that. You're speaking from your paradigm. You're speaking from your constructed reality, and that's wonderful, and I respect that. But I'm also out there in the public eye every day, every week, 365 days a year, and I'm also former world news undercover. I've dealt with a lot of situations around the world, a lot of people here in the United States, and I can tell you that 95.5% of the people are just the opposite of you, and they're scared of their damn shadow, and they're going to run and hide under the first couch, and they're going to bend over and say, how far do you want to stick it? Okay? And you can get a lot of people hurt thinking like you do without explaining what I just explained to them, that, hey, if I go forward in peace, I go forward in love, and I stand out there with my energy and all of my power, and nobody's going to harm me because I'm universally this and universally that. And you look around and there's nobody there because they see those cops and they see those guns and they see that tear gas. So what I'm saying is you're going to have to be, I think, in my opinion, a little more explanatory as to, hey, it works for some and it works not for others because you've got to have what Katie has. In order to pull this off, you've got to have what Katie has.
No, not at all. That goes without saying what you just said there. There are some of us out here doing what we're doing because, like the night I went back to my house to make my stand, knowing full well what was going to come at me, but I will not yield from truth. I looked at Sue. This was the love of my life. Gone. I looked her square in the eyes and I said this to her: if not me, then who? So I made the aware choice to do something, Kyler. Now I need you to hear this out. This is a full concept here. What happens? I know you are. What happens with people like us is we are the ones that are the stand, that are the voice, and don't ever, ever in your life underestimate the power of a mother that can lift a car off a child if she has to. I do not make less of anyone around me, and I'll tell you, the last time I had an interaction with these monkeys, there was about 15 or 20 of them had to storm the house, literally rip my hair out of the back of my head, and I was just standing there. This is what they were doing, and it's like, and of course, a little shit Craig Nye, he's standing off in the background trying to vampire energy, and I'm looking at him, just going, yeah, I know what you are. Anyway, another story there. I'll get into the real deep shit if you want, but not tonight. But here's the bottom line, and this is for all the listeners that are listening right now, because I know over the many years that I've been doing radio of people, and I get the emails, I get the Facebooks, I get the Skypes, that they are getting finally to the notion of being empowered, where they're hearing experiences of people that, hey, listen, I'm a musician, for crying out loud. I'm 5'9", 165 pounds soaking wet. Yeah. And I'll stand up to the biggest cocksucking wanker cop you ever want to imagine, and I've done it many times because they don't scare me. They're just, all they are is a bigger meat stick. But I'll tell you, I'm God, they're God, and I'm sorry, you cannot, not one of those trumps the other. And I'll tell you, the universal law is going to come back and trump that little aspect of consciousness. And what they're going to find happening is they're going to go into oblivion, because these are the parts of our consciousness we want to eradicate.
What do you mean about
what's that?
For these goods?
Oh, well, see, here's
believe when it comes to forgiveness for these goods.
Well, forgiveness, here's the thing about forgiveness, because when you feel the need to forgive someone, you have in that same gesture, judge them. Judge not, lest ye be judged. Only they can forgive themselves, as they must judge themselves, and that by their actions they are known. When a crime is committed, the judgment is already set. That's universal law. End of story on that one. If you know what, I tell you, Kyler, if I could reach out to every one of their hearts and go, listen, stop, just stop. Just stop. That's what I want, but that's not my choice. I will not trespass free will choice. That is for them to decide. And if they can't, there is no amount of forgiveness I can offer them that they will never give to themselves. And they're doomed. Doomed, by the way, means judged. They're judged.
Well, the main thing I'd like to emphasize here is I agree with everything you're saying, okay? I agree with everything you're saying, and I'm sure that you have the intelligence and the wisdom and the insight to realize what I'm saying here and what I'm trying to do as a talk show host and as a human being and as a citizen, as a sovereign. Excuse me, I'll be called on that citizen deal. I'm just trying to open up what the audience.
Good save.
I'm just being the devil's advocate for the audience out there that I know is out there listening to us, and I know that they're thinking exactly what I'm thinking. They're thinking exactly what I'm saying. So I wanted you to answer those questions, be specific in where you come from your personal paradigm, from your personal walk in life, and your personal experience. I want to know where you come from and how you develop these ideas within yourself, where you're able to stand up and go beyond the submissiveness and go beyond the bowing down and ready to die, literally ready to die for what you believe in. That's the problem in this country. People are not willing to go to jail. People are not willing to die, and people are not willing to get hurt, and people are not willing to get arrested. That's the problem. We talked about it last week.
That's the point. It's going to bite you in your ass. This is the point. If you're frightened of that sort of stuff, then that's exactly what you're going to end up getting unless we sort this stuff out rapid style. You see, this is the problem. You've got to face your fears. And that's, you can curl up in a ball and say, oh, I don't want to know. I just want to watch my TV, eat my crisps and watch the baseball. Fine. Don't flipping whinge when your door gets kicked in. You get, 9mm or whatever pointed at you and you're dragged off the female. That's the point, and it's all about educating people so that when they can approach their fears, they realize that, this wasn't so bad after all. In fact, if we actually look at this with any sense, we can actually see that, oh my God, how you won't believe the benefits, the society that we could have with free energy, with the lack of a monetary system, with the lack of all these controls, with the construct coming down. Everything would be absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And we need to walk people through step by step by step by step to explaining that to them, right? And that's the massive job that we've set ourselves to do. Nonetheless, we're going to do it anyway. But, I'll let you comment on that because I've got plenty more to follow this up.
But I just wanted to come across tonight a little bit like the Simon Cowell, because I know what the pulse. I feel the pulse out there every day, as I know you all do. You feel the pulse out there every single day, and of what's going on in the world. That's our job. That's our mission. That's our insight. And
right.
Not everybody thinks like we do, and it's our mission to, like you said, educate and inform these people as to what their rights are and what they need to do to be more powerful in the system and stand up to the system. But at the same time, let me just say this. I was hoping Katie to be back, but I might reiterate, or you might reiterate, people are afraid to go to a PTA meeting. People are too lazy to go to a PTA meeting. They're too afraid to go fight the education system that is putting chips in the kids' badges right now. San Francisco's doing it, Chicago's doing it, New York's doing it. So, people are afraid that we have to get people through this first to be able to just fight their local government.
Exactly.
When you start talking about fighting the feds, you're talking about way, way over most people's heads. They're afraid to fight their local CPS agency. Do you know how many kids are being taken away from godly parents? And I'll use the word godly because I've studied these different people. Do you know how many kids are being taken away from parents because they're gay, because they're transvestite, because they're homosexual? I already said that. Because they're the kid might have went to school and they're interviewing them now, and the little kid said, "Well, yeah, Daddy drinks a 6-pack of beer a night, and he's got an AK, one of those assault rifles, and Mommy and him watch pornography." And we're dealing with so many small issues that need to be taken care of before we start teaching people to go out and stand up to the army tanks. Is what I'm saying here.
Yeah,
I have my finger on this pulse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Now, this is where I'll get the chance to answer it, because that's the point. What we need to do is empower people, okay? So what we need to do is give them the information which allows them for the first time to see actually who they are. And the fact is, at the end of the day, you were talking about the sheriff earlier, and you were talking about we got to help our sheriffs and all the rest of it. You were absolutely spot on. If you've got one sheriff that steps out in front of all the let's say oppression that's coming and tries to stand up for his people, right? He's only one man. But if you've got the whole town that's behind the sheriff steps forward on his own, they laugh and carry on towards him. Now the whole town steps behind the sheriff. They're going to drop their guns and run the other way.
We got 27 states right now that are standing, and 2 sheriffs, I won't mention their names, I spoke to one yesterday. The feds are threatening to put him in jail.
Yeah, well, they will do. Now, you imagine if the whole town stood behind the sheriff. They won't. They couldn't. They can't.
No.
That's the point.
No.
So we, the people, have the power. The sheriff is in a position to use or steer that power into the right area. But in the same sense of the word, both the people need empowering and the sheriff needs to know the people are behind him doing the just and right and correct and courageous and honest thing to do. And that's the point. It's by empowering the people with the knowledge and the information in the first place, and those in power, like the sheriffs, that will then give us all the power to change the entire thing. The entire thing can be changed if the people's consciousness level is raised to a point where they get it. And that's the most frustrating thing about it. All it's going to take is for people to listen and to absorb the information. Because once
knowledge is power. Yeah,
exactly.
Tony, you've nailed it. This is the thing. What we have here is an ignorant masses. That's what we have, and that's what we're contending with. And what Tony and I and you, Caller, what we're trying to do here is to give people the sense of empowerment, so that they are not being duped. You know, they're not thinking with the Walmart mentality. There's a reason why there are so many cops, is because the IQs are so low. You know, when people, it's funny, I was thinking about this today. With all the fluoride in our water, how many people are actually drinking tap water? What was the purpose of fluoride? For your teeth? Right. Okay, well, it's not working, guys, because nobody's drinking this shit, okay? And quite frankly, I'm hoping that the government officials are drinking all the fluoridated water they can. And if they're not, I'm going to ask them, okay, well, if fluoride is so dangerous, why are you buying bottled water?
Right.
Exactly. This is the point. And it's the same with the sheriff and his beautiful little children. He's going to go home if he's not empowered with the truth and the knowledge. He's going to go and he's going to allow people in white coats to inject mercury into their veins. He's going to allow them to inject thimerosal. He's going to allow them to inject squalene into their veins, which is going to screw them up.
Do does anybody here know why the sheriffs are immune and different than every other law enforcement agency in the country? Can anybody tell me?
Well, it goes back to the writs of sheriff, back to England and what have you, but the sheriff are at the highest office in every county. They are basically the king's messenger of the law. The only one above them is the king or the queen. That's
very good.
Of the sheriff, and that's why, I know all about sheriffs. I'm from the UK. I've dealt with them.
Yeah, very good.
And I mean
they're
correct
not
in
under
the way that
rule of law. They're not under rule of law.
But when you have a ditz bag like they have in the city of Guelph or County Wellington sheriff that has to read off a little list as to what to do next because she just got the job because someone was looking for it, then you got real problems. So there you go. County of Wellington. I got the ditz's name inside. Don't worry. I'm going to be doing a full expose on all these wankers anyway. So it's time to get loud, proud, and obnoxious.
Yep.
Let me say one more thing about people at 6. Use the 6. Number 6. I've spoken to a lot of law enforcement people who do statistical studies and things on the public, and if you have 6 people driving down the road, next time you're out going to the store, I want you to count 6 cars in front of you or beside you. I want you to count 6 cars, and I want you to say, the number 1 car is wanted, is a felon. The number 2 car is on the run from the law. The number 3 car has multiple warrants out for their arrest. The number 4 car is on parole. And the number 5 car is suspect, and the number 6 car just got back from church. This is another problem that we have that I'd like for both of you to address, why people are afraid to stand up to the government, because we are such a nation in peril and our justice system has gone to hell. Everybody's being arrested for the wrong things. We have one of the largest incarceration rates in the world, one of the most crooked incarceration rates in the world, one of the most crooked prison systems in the world today, which has become a money-making system. Tell me your opinion, Katie, on the 6 figure that's true, that's scientifically proven.
Well, again, I mean, you can use all the analogies. The one thing I do want to bring to the table here, and a good analogy using the cars, let's say I'm going from here across town. Why is it that if I walk, I'm okay? If I take my bike, I'm okay. But as soon as I get in a car to travel that same distance, in more comfort and speed, of course, for myself, why is that all of a sudden something where someone can get literally beaten to death? You know, do you see what I'm getting at? What is it going to take for people to wake up? You need a walking license? Imagine this. Here's what they're gonna things keep going. This game's over. Okay, we've already decided that it's done. The fear porn is done. Think about this. Does it have to get to the point where people have to apply for a walking fucking license?
Yes.
You know, like really? Is that what it's going to take to wake people up?
Yes, they will.
This is the problem, though. This is what we're talking about. It's the construct. It's the tightening of the box. It's the choking of the people. And that's exactly what's going to happen. It's going to get tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter until people are literally on their hands and knees begging for a result. Why? Because that's exactly what they want. So we've got to understand what it is that they're trying to do, the Hegelian dialectic, problem, reaction, solution. Okay, we need to understand their psychology and why they're doing what they're doing. And we can go there, but we just can't do it in 2.3 seconds. It's a big subject, but as I say, empowering the people with knowledge, that's the ticket, that's the key, that's the get-out-of-jail-free card. And that's where we need to get people to, step by step.
And Kyler, I am loving this panel. This is an impassioned, empowered panel, and it's going to bring a lot of stuff to the main stage. So I'm digging this.
I love you guys. I love y'all. Y'all are wonderful. I'm blessed to be here with you. I feel very privileged, very honored. I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass either. I mean it. Well, you know me. You know me, Katie, better than Tony does. I don't blow smoke. I don't blow smoke.
No, you tell it as it is, and so do we, and that's why we're all going to get along, and we're going to bring the hard issues to the table, and we may not necessarily agree on all the points, but I'll guarantee you we'll meet somewhere in the middle, and it'll all be beautiful.
Well, if we agreed on all the points, it would be the most boring radio broadcast in the world.
Oh, I don't know. We've been pretty boring, eh, Tony?
Well, we try not to be.
We try not to be. No, the thing is,
I'm the son of
Hey, Tony. Actually, I gotta ask Tony this. In all the time we've worked on radio together, we've never actually had a disagreement because we're on the same page. We have the same visuals of from a completely different perspective. And I do want to get this out without going into any detail. A lot of people don't know the real Tony Z. I do. Found out a whole lot more about him, and that will be kept as is. But I'll tell you this right now: there's a lot of things going on in this world that are a net result of Tony's inventions, and that's another show, another day, and Tony will decide when. But that's why I need people to actually listen to what Tony has to say, because there's a lot more behind the voice than you actually realize. But I always knew that, just didn't know why.
I really can. Tony, tell us about.
Yeah, we just like I said, we've got a job to do. Let's get on and do that. That's the main thing, and it's about empowering people and getting them to the point where they can understand what the heck's up, down, left, and right. You know what I mean? That's the main focus of my attentions at the moment.
Yeah, and we're all on the same page there. You just got called Encyclopedia Tony. There you go, and you are.
Yeah, I tell you what, I've just worked really hard to figure out what the bloody hell is going on. That's all I want to know. You know? When somebody can actually turn around and tell me this is what's going on, now I know I've met the person that I need to speak to. And that's the point. I'm still looking.
I think a big problem here that many people do not want to look at, people had rather not face, people had rather not discuss or debate, is the religious issue. You know, we are such a divided nation, morally and ethically and principally. We are such a divided nation as far as the atheists and the Christians. You have the first, second, and third level Christians, you know. I'm not going to go into that on this show, but you have three levels of Christians, and then
Why
you
not?
have the atheists.
That's one of my favorite subjects. I love dealing with religio-cosinitis.
Well, let me finish the analogy. You got the third level Christians, three levels of Christians. Then you've got the Buddhists who believe in, you know, Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, give me a new car in the morning, give me a, you know, Easter basket, give me a better boat tomorrow. And then you've got the Hindus who believe in millions of gods, literally. And then you've got the Muslims who we have jihad, and then we have all these other misconceptions of Muslims that are totally wrong, totally wrong. I have so many Muslim friends in the Middle East. I have Muslim friends here. People are nuts in America, and I'll say the majority of people are nuts in America. They've believed the lie about the terrorists. They've believed the lie about Muslims all being horrible and nasty and dirty and wanting to kill your children and eat them for breakfast. We've got some nutty people here in America. And then you've got the Jehovah's Witnesses, and then you've got this major stream movement in entertainment, the Scientologists. So this has a big deal to do with everything we're talking about tonight that people do not want to talk about. And that is, how is religion and morality affecting the overall system of doing things and changing the paradigm and changing the way people think?
Right.
Well,
can we address that?
Let me jump all over this one with like white on rice, flies on shite, whatever. I'll tell you the problem.
Remember, you're talking about all the religions now, Katie.
Yeah. Oh, I hold them all in the same esteem of just over the toilet, ready to flush. The bottom line is, every one of these beautiful religious books, the Bible, the Quran, the Vedics, Torah, all of these beautiful books are all mistranslated. They're actually being read literally instead of mystically. And they're all books of astrology. That's the holy science. But what has happened is it has been corrupted to the literal sense, where it's okay for Moses to be a pedophile. And when you take these books literally, they look at our society. This is what has been taught to us through religions. We have been taught via religion, because the church, of course, is the original court. Funny how that all turns around, and the banks and all the rest of it. It's all the same thing. But at the end of the day, what they have done, and what you're seeing around you, is the net result of what religion has taught from the literal perspective of these books, and they have totally destroyed the truth that is contained within them. These books are absolutely stunning truth or absolutely stunning bullshit. and it depends on how you read them. Now, if you want some, I don't know if you've ever heard of Bill Donahue, and of course Santo Bonacci, he's on with us all the time. You want to understand how specifically the Bible is to be read. Watch these guys. Santo actually gets into the Quran and other books as well. And I'll tell you about the Hindus having millions of gods. They're the closest one to it because, quite frankly, they're infinite gods. We're all God. That's the point. And what's happened is we have been taught through religio cosis chosenitis to worship outside of ourselves instead of being the light within. And that's where religion has destroyed it and created a completely immoral, unethical, kill everybody you can for power mentality that this world is wrapped up in. And that's what we're here to destroy, to get rid of that. Finally, we're out of the age of Pisces. We're in Aquarius now. The age of Pisces is all about I believe. Now we've moved into Aquarius, which is all about I know. And I know that everything that was in Pisces was absolute bullshit because I don't believe anything. If I know it, I know it, and if I don't, I don't. I don't leave any room for doubt.
Do you respect those? Do you respect those who worship the Lord Jesus Christ as personal Savior? Do you have a problem respecting and loving and sharing with them, going out to eat with them, going out to dinner, having them over for dinner, as long as they don't cram this?
I will break bread with anybody. That's my point. You see, because religion creates division. That's the divide and conquer. The original divide and conquer. Now the point is, when you talk about Christ, I'll tell you, and I'm going from the teacher in that book actually, where it is made emphatically clear that you are the Christ within. You don't worship the Christ outside. There's no guy coming on a horse to save mankind. You are your own savior. That was the true lesson, and people missed it, and they're waiting just like a government. That's why government works so well, because they've been indoctrinated to expect something outside of themselves to come and save them. It ain't going to happen.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And if it does, you want to look out.
Well, if it does, I can't wait. It would just be one of the most newsworthy events that we've ever had on the planet. Wouldn't that be wonderful to break that story?
Let me rephrase that. That's exactly what they want you to hope for, because there will be somebody popping up shortly going, oh, it's me. I'm the one that you've been waiting for. You've got to get on my...
They're already popping up all over the world. I've got 15 Jesuses already on my Facebook account.
Great. I'm so pleased. This is the point there. This is the point.
Jesus is in my Facebook account. And that's the truth. I mean, these guys, they're all over the country.
I believe you, Kyler. Go ahead, Tony. Finish your point.
Yes, I'm just saying that I mean, where we're looking at this from, of this whole thing, I mean, wow, it's a massive understanding to wrap your brain around what's actually going on here. It is absolutely incredible, and it involves lots and lots and lots and lots of different things. One of the things that it involves, Kate and I frequently talk about, is time travel. And this is the point. If you ended up getting your hand on something, let's say it did exist, and now we've got lots and lots of different areas we can look at to go and test that theory out. The point is, if you had a device that you could go back 10,000 years, for example, call it 1,000,000 years, I don't know, I don't really care. The point is, if you could actually go back and do so, and travel through time, and your end goal was that you wanted to enslave the population, and you had to come up with a cunning plan to actually do that, then how could you do it, and how would you go about doing it? And that's what we've ended up looking at here and now today. All of this division, this construct, these legalities, these laws, this whole lot is about trapping people into a new world order, a new paradigm, where you need a license for this, a passport for that, you can do this, you can't do that, you can talk about this, you can't talk about that, you can't have guns, you've got to do, it's a complete construct. And I keep coming back, it's a construct. The reality is we have time travel, and I can explain it to you, just not in 2 seconds. The fact of the matter is there are many different forms of time travel, and I detail them very clearly in the book. The experiments, the lectures, the physics, all of the associated bits of information that people need to know to get started are all there, including the Nazi Bell experiments that were done, pre-1936, before the war. The point is, we've had Hannibal technology The thing is, when you use this technology, it creates a time-space field, which changes time-space. And this is the point. In order to understand the magnitude of this particular lie, we need to have all of the pieces of that puzzle at our disposal in order to wrap our brain around it. And that's where we come from. And that's a massive, massive undertaking from our part to be able to explain this stuff to people in a way that they can get it. We've all been fooled. Everything that we thought we knew is wrong. You've got to go back and readdress the whole lot, and religion is one of the biggest factors. Like money is a tool in the box, like, laws are another tool in the box. Belief is one of the biggest ones. If you believe in something, that's the problem. You need to know, not believe it, you need to know it. So how do you change from belief to know? By studying the facts. And that's the big difference, because most of the facts are hidden. And that's where we need to start, go back to bedrock.
Back in my younger days as a special consultant, we'll say, I won't use the word agent, I was involved in a very, very extensive experiment with remote viewing, and that was very interesting. I'll talk about on another show. And, of course, quantum leaping, the kind that you read on the side of your Facebook page. You can just throw that in the garbage because they've got it all wrong. But quantum viewing and quantum physics is very, very important in all of this. Nanotechnology is very important. High energy transfer and remote viewing, all these things are very important. And not a whole lot of the public study that kind of thing. And I wanted to say to your comment a while ago about God in a million years, going back 10,000 years, we've been searching for God now for about 35,000 years. That's the best estimate that we can come up with. It's 35,000 years. We've been looking up to the sky saying, why me? What's going on here? There's got to be something bigger and better. And I'd like to clarify my opinion on the fact that religion has not caused all of the problems in the world, and God has not caused all the problems in the world. It's the misperception, the misuse of religion that has caused all the problems in the world. You're never going to take the religion out of the world, nor are you going to take, you're never going to take the world out of religion. You might take religion out of the world.
I'd argue that point to the death, Kyler, because
not to the extent of what we would like to see, Katie.
No, I'm going to be real blunt on this one. Religion has to go, because religion, and you made a beautiful point there about looking for God for the last 35. It's been longer than that. And here's the irony.
Well,
that's the insanity of what mankind is. You see, this is where we have to come back to source of the humanity aspect. You see, man has been searching for something that's always been within, and the whole ruse here has been keeping man looking outside of itself for something that has always been within, the anu of the being, the anarchy. That's the anu arc key, which is the heart of light key, life. Okay, that's why they have done such a beautiful job of making a disgusting word out of, oh, you're an anarchist. You're damn straight I'm an anarchist. I'm one of the purest anarchists, because I am ruled only by the heart, and that is the center of my universe as it is the center of yours. And when you start looking at things in the fractal sense, and this is where I come from in the ethereal realms, when you start seeing it that you are a universe unto yourself, there is no religion required. You see, the illusion that has been stepped on our brains for so long, and programmed through the DNA with the reptilian brainstem. Nice little quote by Obama there a little while back, talking about the reptilian brain. Oops, I guess you shouldn't have said that. But anyway, that's the problem. Oh, yeah, I know he did. Now, the point here is we have been, as a race, have been looking outside of ourselves for the answer that was always within, and it's the compassion, it's the empathy. That is where you're going to find creation. That is where you're going to find light. You see, I mean, there was a cool teacher, Jesus. I mean, Krishna said it, Ahura Mazda said it, Buddha said it, Plato, they've all said it. They're all the same representation of the same teacher. Muhammad, you name it, they've all said the same thing. You are light. God is light. Ye are gods. Okay? And until people finally figure that out, instead of looking at a literal translation of a book that was never meant to be taken literal, even that teacher, Jesus says within it that he will say things in such a way that most will not get it, and only those ready to understand it will hear it. I don't expect those in the Bible Belt to understand or accept anything that I'm saying, because they're too busy wanting to get violent with me, because I don't worship their God, or that I'm going to burn in some hell that was, by the way, created by Rome itself. That is a construct of man. It doesn't exist in the book. All right? The heaven and hell that we speak of, heaven, Santha will go into great detail with this, but heaven is another word for head, and the heaven is in your head. You will choose either hell or heaven, and again, you got to listen to some of Santha's stuff to really get your head around this. It's so blatantly simple. Bottom line is this, though: while we are worshiping outside of ourselves because somebody else said so, the only reason that most people in America are Christians is because their parents were, and because their parents were. If they were born in India, the chances are they'd be either Hindu or Muslim or Sikh. You know, again, this is it. The only reason people believe anything is because of the shit that got thrown on their white canvas at birth to say, well, you were born here, we believe this, so this is what you're going to do. And a lot of these people, and you know this for a fact, Tyler, there's a lot of people out there that are going to get up and they will literally kill for that ridiculous belief. That is scary.
Well, they are. At this very moment, they are. Millions of people. Hundreds of thousands of people are dying at this very moment we're on air, being headed, having their skin stripped off their bones, and being burned alive. I just got a call last night from Africa, my producer there. This is happening in Burma right now. All over the world, people are dying, all in the name of God, and of course the Americans are invading, all in the name of democracy and God, one nation under God. When in fact it's all about resources, it's all about diamonds, gold, and silver, and platinum, and energy, and oil.
Control.
And, has nothing to do with God or religion or anything else. But I just would like to say that I respect all religions, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart, and I'm not trying to win friends and influence people and bring people onto the airwaves to be our fans because I say that. I respect all religions as long as they do not think that killing another person or maiming another person or raping another person is all in the name of God. I sit around the campfire here with my Muslim friends and my Buddhist friends all the time and my Christian friends, and we get along just fine because I let them know where to draw the line in my yard here. When they start proselytizing, that's when they go home, and they know that. I don't like for people to come and proselytize. I don't like for people to try to cram something down my throat. I enjoy listening to your stories. I enjoy listening to your history. I enjoy listening to your experience. But when I find that you're mixed up with these crazy, sociopathic, psychopathic killers, I'm out of there.
Yeah, right. I hear what you're saying. There's lots of different things I could comment on that, but I'm not going to. One of the things that I'm going to do for your information and for your Christian guys' information is give you a hint, and that hint is one of the things that you and all the other Christian people out there are going to desperately want to know, even though they have no clue at the moment for the majority, is go and check out the Noahide laws, or Noahide laws. And I can go into much greater detail with this, but it's gruesome, right? But you need to understand, as a Christian, if you think that that's what you are, you need to go and check out Noahide laws, okay? And there's one that you need to check out because it's very, very important. It's a matter of life and death, because this is one of the things that they've got planned.
I'm not going to mention any famous atheists, but y'all already know them. But I'm not going to do the source thing tonight. Everybody knows out there what's going on. I've got atheist scholars on my pages. I've got panel scholars of Jewish Orthodox Jews talking with the atheists, and very interesting discussions. Very, very interesting discussions. And I've got scholars that are from the Catholic Church. I've got scholars from the Jewish community talking, and I'll send this to you, Katie. I was going to do it anyway. Discussing these issues and getting backed up into a corner and ending up saying, well, you know what, we just don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. I have no idea. And we don't have any idea. That's the whole thing. We don't have any idea. We're talking about PhDs here that are a hell of a lot smarter than I am in world religion.
Yeah, but that's the problem with
but,
that's the problem with education, right? Because what their education is based on are the lessons of others and not life experience in particular.
They'll be the first to tell you that too.
Yeah, well, and what they need to do is then forget everything they thought they knew, because if they're questioning based on their education, then their education is flawed, and that is the source problem. You know,
makes you wonder why they're still wearing the collar.
Well, because they're making money. Because they're making money. Okay, that's the bottom line, and that's, you see, while there's a tray getting passed around in a church or a synagogue or a mosque, or I don't give a shit wherever. While there is money involved and people are worshiping in a building because some guy is standing at the front dressed different than they are, telling them how it is, those people that are in that congregation, all right, agree means step, con without, without step, right? So they're being led like sheep and to the slaughter. And I'll tell you, I have had a lot of fun dealing with professors, and I've dealt with many of them, where I'll sit and try to have a logical conversation. And the first thing I'm going to tell them is, you know what your problem is? He says, you never actually got out and had a life, because you went from kindergarten through school, through high school, through secondary school, through college, through teacher's college, into becoming a professor. And all you have is the regurgitative aspects of everything that somebody else told you need to think. Your canvas is garbage. So is your concept of life. Now go out and live it, come back, have a look in your mirror. That's what you need to do. You need to go stand in front of your mirror for a while and keep asking this question, why? And you will find the answer, but you got to shut that ego left analytical mind down long enough for the 90%. The 10% brain is the left, which is your tithe. That's what is referred to in these books as 10%. You must give up 10%. The left brain is the 10%. In order to get the 90% of the right feminine hemisphere open, that is the creation hemisphere. That is where you are going to connect with the higher self, which is all connected. You see, while we think separately, we are only different perspectives of the same oneness. And I'll tell you, a very long time ago, our self, the one consciousness, our self, was very bored and very lonely. And this is what we're dealing with right now in a game where we're out to try to experience ourself from perspectives of not being ourselves. And what we're doing now is we're on our way back to home to be that. And unfortunately, we're running into a lot of insanity on the way, but that's all part of the game. And, well, there you go.
Yes. Are we on air?
Oh yeah, we're still going. We give it another 15 minutes or so. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, everything just had a weird sound on my end. It must be mine. No, I agree. I agree with everything you're saying. It's just like Tony said. It's going to be it's daunting. It's daunting. It's literally daunting. And anybody that doesn't say that is an idiot. Plain and simple. It's daunting. What we're dealing with here, the issues, the programming, the spelling, the politic of the day, the misinformation, all of these things are daunting. They're incomprehensible almost. One sits back with any intelligence at all and looks out at this canvas and says, oh my God, how did we get so screwed up? 7+ billion people on this planet, 370 million in the United States, and you've got exactly 7.5 billion opinions out there, and sub-opinions, another 100 billion, a trillion sub-opinions. So it's daunting. Will we ever come to a consensus? The answer is no. We never will, and we never were supposed to. But we are trying. We're trying to get to some consensus, and if we can just get a few over on our page, that's a wonderful thing. We have a radio program here. We have a Syncrenicity, and we're building a fan base. We're building a group of people, hopefully, that think kind of in the same lines that we do, and that's a wonderful thing. But otherwise, you can still look out and see that other canvas, and it's daunting. It's incomprehensible. The confusion that in this world, it makes one with intelligence almost think chaos theory is real.
Yeah, again, and to bring things back to light in terms of religion, the closest thing that I can use to define where my perspective comes from is pantheism, and that's just went to Wikipedia just to make sure because there's a few people in here that I think you'll know that are actual pantheists. It's the belief that everything composes an all-encompassing immanent God, creator, right? Or that the universe is identical with divinity, which it is. We're all part of the same creation, right? Nothing is separate from anything. We are all connected. Now you have people like Descartes, who was pantheist. We're just had the list here. Yeah, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Frederick Hegel, Sam Coleridge. I mean, these are all well-noted philosophers. Henry David Thoreau. I mean, Albert Einstein. What happens here is when you can finally decide that we are all part of the same creation, that everything we do to everything outside of us is affecting us as well, equally, that's when we're going to come to terms. And I will not deal in absolutes of saying that we will never get there. That's something that defies my free will.
Not in my lifetime. At 56 years old, we won't.
I wouldn't say that so quickly either, because a consciousness shift happens in the twinkling of an eye, where here's the musician coming out, where when you're dealing with a dominant frequency, and that's all we're doing right now is maintaining and holding that dominant frequency, as hard as it is for many of us every day. It's a constant battle to hold and ask the question, why am I doing this, and come up with a sentient answer, you know? But I'll tell you this right now. Yeah, I will hold. And I will be part of that dominant frequency to raise the consciousness. And nature abhors a vacuum, because the more I can raise my frequency of resonance ability, the more space vacuum I create below me, pulling lower frequencies up. And the rule is very simple. A dominant frequency in any room will make other frequencies come to it to match, be it move it up or move it down. And that's why this system has been so focused on fear, to keep everybody in the lower three chakras of bad energy, if you will. That's duality. Hell. I want to know what that is. Duality, yes.
Well, the Bible's done a good job in making New Age people look like complete idiots, and a very, very good job of making New Age people, as I call them, look like complete imbeciles and heretics. And the Bible has done a good job of writing in those facts very well written in the Bible. If anybody's ever read
here
it.
I'll give you an example of how the Bible is misinterpreted. All right, you're probably familiar with the expression that the wife must be subservient to the husband. You've come across that in the Bible, yeah?
I'm also very
okay. Hang on, no, Kyler.
We can have sex slaves. Go ahead, Isaiah.
Okay. No, you've heard the saying, yeah, from the Bible. So okay. What that, in a literal sense, what that creates is a second-class citizen of the female. Now, I'm going to tell you exactly what it's supposed to mean from the mystical. Anything feminine in the Bible, be it sister, aunt, mother, wife, whatever, anything feminine is relating to emotions. Anything masculine, father, son, husband, brother, whatever, is relating to the mind. So I'm going to say it again with those two truths placed in there from the mystical proper interpretation of the Bible. The wife must be subservient to the husband. What they're saying there, if you know how to read it now, is that the emotions must be subservient to the mind. Because you know what happens when people get all emotional? They get all narrow-minded and crazy and whatnot, right?
Well, I've read the Gita. I've read the Gita many times, yes. That's the Gita, yes.
You know, it's again, what we're dealing with here is an ignorance of translation, where we've let others speak for us from a pulpit. And I got to tell you, I have nothing but pity for these guys and girls that are up on these pulpits preaching absolute bullshit, because they're preaching it from a literal sense, and that's how Rome dictated it. That's how it was meant to be, and that's why we're dealing with this immoral world that allows the murder of children, that allows the everyday raping, the harming of our fellow man, the complete destruction and moral decay of our families and everything else. It is religion and its literal teaching that has done that. And I don't care if it's Christian, Muslim, Jew, or whatever. It's, for me, that's all the same shit in the same bucket, because the ones that are spewing that crap haven't got a clue about what they're spewing. And if they truly knew the harm they were doing, I wouldn't want to be part of that karma. That's why I'm doing my best to educate people into what the real answers are.
You sound very angry.
No, not at all. Me? No, this is passion, my friend. This is how I go. This is how I roll. And I've been on stage my whole life, so this is all about getting it out there. I want people to get my intention, and the intention here.
Do you think you'll gain people's trust? And I'm asking you this from a pure heart.
Oh,
do you think
absolutely.
you'll gain people's trust in the Christian community who you would hope that would come over to your way of thinking by
Tyler,
speaking like you're speaking?
I will be very blunt. I don't give a shit. They will
They're
either
a bunch
get
of nuts, a bunch of idiots, a bunch of stooges, a bunch of. And I've had a hard time.
No. I'm not saying that. You're assuming something that I'm not saying. What I am trying to do is give these people the facts of a most beautiful book that they're missing the true story of what Jesus was trying to teach.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's what I'm getting.
You do admit that this is just your opinion, correct? Based on your constructed reality and your experience.
Mine and many others, well-studied.
No. We're pulling a scholarly on
Tyler,
stage.
opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one, and my opinion doesn't matter. What does matter to me is I will stand in my truth. And people, I've said this many times. You can come through the door to the radio station, and you can stay, and you can listen of your own free will choice. And you can choose to leave as well. If you're offended, then that's your problem. It's not that I don't want you there, but if you're not ready to hear what I'm going to bring to the table, and I bring the hard, cold shit to the table. I don't deal in warm, fuzzy stuff. And I've been on the air for 5 years.
You know me at all, you know I don't either.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm just being.
But I'm not. I'll be blunt, Tyler. I am not going to pander to Christians, and I'm not going to pander to Jews, and I'm not going to pander to Muslims. I'm not going to pander to any religion. What I'm going to pander to is peace, truth, love, and honor. And if you can't grasp,
I did not ask you to pander. I just simply said you win more friends and influence more people with kindness and no. It's not not at all. It's love and it's understanding and intuitiveness and discernment and maturity. No, because these people, you have to understand, these people have been programmed all of their lives since they rolled off the birthing table. So you can't beat them in the head. You can't beat them in the head with a sledgehammer and diss their religion, something that they've believed all of their life, and take sacred and hold sacred the Lord Jesus Christ as personal Savior and God and holiness and all of the other things, salvation and redemption, eternal life. You can't just kick them in the head like a bull and knock it out of them if you want to sway them over to your way of believing, is all I'm saying.
Kyler, again, you're putting words in my fucking mouth. Stop, please. I am not like that. Hey, listen. I'm going to come at you with this one very simply because of this. All right, I understand where you're coming from, and I have nothing but respect for my fellow man. When you bring a religion to the table, I will slaughter it because I've seen the destruction. I've seen the murder, the death, and the mayhem. Religion is the net result of everything that is wrong with this place because it is taught from a wrong perspective. If you understood these books from the pure truth, light, and love that they contain, this would be completely backwards, completely opposite of what we're dealing with today. That's where my passion comes from.
Let me just say
we can back this up. This is the point. But you can't do it all in 2 seconds, again.
Right.
No, again, we're going to have many conversations, Kyler. This panel is a very impassioned panel, and it's definitely bringing a lot of things to the table. And I'll tell you, people are going to love me or hate me, and I don't particularly care either way. What I care about is one thing and one thing only: truth.
Yes.
And whether I'm right or wrong.
Your truth.
No.
Get that on the record. Everybody holds their own individual truth.
No,
they never studied the philosophers.
Let's just make it easy, just to make it kinder and gentler. This is my perspective of truth. Truth is self-evident. It resonates within. Does 1 + 1 equal 2? Does 1 + 1 equal 2?
Maybe not. Depends on whether you're doing new math or old math.
What we all agree on, yes, of course it does. Two things together. All right, let's not split hairs here. All right.
My mother, before I want to give my mother a plug. My rest in peace. My grandmother also. You got to be careful when you're dissing, and talking about Christians. And I'll go ahead and beat them. Go and piss on. My grandmother was a saint. These women were the greatest women, some of the greatest women on earth, and they were both Christian. So you have to be very careful.
I am not. Okay, now you're bringing a humanity thing in here, and I need you to separate fucking thing real quick. I don't care if you're Christian. If your heart is good, it's good. Can we get that point? Can we agree on that?
And they were that way. And my point is,
okay,
they were that.
I understand that. And there's also priests out there fucking little boys in the ass that are Christians. Now you fucking tell me what a Christian is.
They're not.
Let's talk about humans now.
They're not the kind of Christians that I wish
they're not.
on the face of
no.
the earth.
You're missing my point. You cannot
No,
hide
I'm not missing your point. I'm highly intellectual.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that. What I'm getting at is I'm not mincing words here. I'm making it very clear. I don't care what your religion is. It's what is your heart.
Right.
Don't give me a fucking label. Don't give me something. I don't care if you're Greek. I don't care if you're Irish. I don't care if you're gay, you're straight, you're Muslim, Christian. If you're an asshole, you're an asshole. Don't hide behind a label.
Are you an atheist or a humanist or a pantheist? You're a pantheist, right?
Well, that's probably a good description of what it is. I believe in the universality of all. I know of the all oneness. Been there, done that, got the T-shirt, and that's where my passion comes from. And the minute people say, well, my God is better than your God, I'm going to kill you to prove it, that's what religion's going to give you.
That's what I said earlier, isn't it? Remember?
Oh, yeah, no, we're on the same page here, and this is why I'm loving this, because I am not going to stand and defend Christians, and I'm not going to stand and defend Jews or Muslims. I'm going to trash them all equally, because they're all the concept of religion. We've got 90 seconds left here, guys, but the concept of religion...
I will defend their right to be who they are and think what they think and believe what they believe.
As long as they are good. I will
if they're not coming at me with a machete. As long as they're not coming at me, you're attorney with a machete.
Right. Now, let's get to the nitty-gritty. When we're dealing with humanity, lose the religions and all the bullshit that goes with it. When you're dealing with humanity, I am looking for the being to be good, peace-loving, truthful, honorable.
Agreed.
I don't need somebody to say, well, I'm a Christian. As soon as my grandfather told me a long time ago, he said, there's two people in this world you watch for. One's carrying guns and the other's carrying Bibles. They're equally dangerous.
I just want to thank you all for having. I just want to thank you.
Oh yeah, well we're gonna do this on a regular basis, my friend, because this is the kind of information that people need to get. And I want to thank Critical Mass Radio for giving us a platform and Destiny Radio Network. We are going to be bringing a lot of wonderful stuff if you can handle it.
Yep, my board's full. My board's full from Russia around the world. Everybody's loving it. Just loving it.
Well, we're straight shooters.
Exactly. Yes. We've got much more of this. We haven't even started. We haven't even got warmed up.
Yeah, we're going to go off the air in a second here, but much love to all, and we'll keep rolling for a sec as long as the recording goes. But Kyle, we're off the air now. This kind of forum, Kyler, is beautiful because it's going to bring a lot of stuff out, and people are going to give them a reason to start looking inside. That's what they need to do, my friend. That's where my passion is.
Yeah.
The love is so deep within everyone, and we just got to get this program ripped off of them. And the religions are the first and most dangerous of all programs because everything hinges around the secular thing called money. The mono-I.
Will you help me indirectly with they're kicking me out of missions up here because of my New Age status and my belief as you believe. They're unconstitutionally not allowing me to come in and even come on the yard and talk about philosophers or Aristotle or Plato or any quantum concepts or anything concerning positive thinking, positive actions, positive doing. If it doesn't have to do with the scripture, they're really getting us up here. They're really coming against us up here.
Oh yeah, again, that's the program problem, and we're going to have that problem while religions exist. That's the perfect divide and conquer of mankind. They've made us all believe we're different. We're not. We all believe red.
Might have you ask you to make a phone call next month and just say, by the way, just heard that you're keeping some folks out. You don't even have to tell them who you are. Keeping some folks out. Tell you what.
Hey, Kyler, let's wrap the show up here, and we'll have a quick call off the recording, and we'll go over some details, and that way we can let people get this download. But anyway,
cool.
a pleasure to have you, Kyler, and thank you for the impassions. I love this. This is a beautiful opportunity for us to be able to bounce the stuff at such an intense level.
Yes,
and people need to hear this. They need to hear both sides. They need to hear it in passion to this degree. And I guarantee you, I know, between the three of us, we will deliver that every single time. So, tell you what, let me end the episode, and then we'll jump into a quick Skype call. Okay?
Yeah, I'll wait for you.
Just before we do, I would like to mention people out there who are downloading this information. We need to get you over to Syncrenicity.com. Okay?
Yes.
Very important.
Yeah. I've got it up on mine. All 52 I've got it up too.
Yeah, we have many others coming on board now as well, and this is going to be the tour de force where we finally have a collective where we can all meet and empower each other equally. It's beautiful.
That window is open to you.
Oh yeah,
that opened a wonderful window.
Well, it wasn't me. I'm just part of it. That was in the crew, and I'm just a mouthpiece.
Well, I'm just a toilet. I'm just a toilet cleaner, so don't worry about me.
I'm just a toilet mouth anyway. Much love to all, and don't forget tomorrow night we have Jose Barrera on with Tony and myself, and we might even have Santo show up. Who knows? Maybe not, because he's doing another show. But anyway, much love to all, and we'll catch you all on the flip side. Take care. Have a great night, and I'll call you guys back. Bye.
God bless.